real estate. So my name is Kevin Johnson, and this is for Impact Worldwide. This is the Real Estate Agent Growth Blueprint. This is all about selling more homes. If you've got people that you're connected to, they're on your team, they should be listening to this. And as you see, we've got this being recorded. So this will be available on Impact later. This will also, going to be two supplements that are going to come with this. And well, not two supplements, but two documents that you're going to get as a result of this. We're going to post both in Impact after this. So there'll be the recording and then there will be the documents that go with this. So this whole event today is about selling more homes. And I'm sure that, if I were to ask for a show of hands, everyone would love to sell at least a few more homes or maybe just kill it this year. So this whole thing, I've already done this for LePage Johnson Group, I think about 2 weeks ago now. Got a lot of really good feedback for it. I really designed the whole thing for Impact, but I wanted it to be something that I could work on with the team and refine a few things, which I did, and added a few things. So you guys get the benefit of me doing it more than once, but yet now we've got more to go with it. So when I go through this today, I've got a lot to go through in somewhat of a short period of time. And that's a good thing because there's a lot to this. And there's two things I want you to take away from this. One is I want you to know that this event should not be the point at which you say, okay, I went and I listened to this guy and now I know it all. Okay, because this literally should be a springboard for you sitting down with a cup of coffee, okay, having the faith and saying, okay, I'm creating a plan for myself to absolutely crush it for the rest of the year. So it should be something that you're going to spend time on, invest time on, keep yourself accountable. And I'm kind of, these are some other things that I'm going to talk about as I go through this a little bit later. But I'm going to spend about an hour going through this workbook. I'm not covering absolutely everything, but I'm going to prepare every one of you for going through this workbook and using it to grow your own real estate business. Okay. So with that said, there's at the end of this hour, I'm going to stay on. And if I've gone through things and you're like, I have questions, as I go through, if you want, throw it in the chat or save it to the end, write them down and save it to the end because I'll stay on for about a half hour or more if you want me to answer questions, talk about certain things or what have you. Also, and I'm going to prime this whole thing with one thing, and I may tell you a couple times throughout this to write this down, but this is one I really want you to write down. Okay. And it is this. I want you to turn your leads into your sphere. Okay. Have you ever wondered why, when you look at the community around you, every person in your community knows at least 6 real estate agents. Everyone. Okay. They know Peggy Fritsch. They know Candy. They know, right? Everybody knows somebody. Okay. And then at some point somebody sells or they buy a house and you're like, why did they use Bob? Okay. Leads are just that. When you think about it, what's a lead? Well, it's just some cold person that reached out to me, they're a referral, or I got them through some kind of lead gen system or something. And we don't think of them as being sphere. Your goal when you get leads should be to turn them into your sphere. Because when you turn them into your sphere, you now, in a sense, have like a lock with them. You can call them up and say, Peggy, how was your vacation? You can say, Lisa, how did you like Cabo? You can, literally go right down the line and talk to people because people will work with the people that they like. Okay. So that's one thing I really want you to focus on with this. Which all of you agree that we're all being overwhelmed with distractions and like just mass information coming at us all the time. Okay. Then one of the things that was mentioned after I did the last training with the same workbook is it was nice to have something that was somewhat simplistic that allows us to kind of like oversimplify everything and get really productive. Okay, that's what I'm going to walk through with this. So like I said, I don't want this to be the kind of thing where you attend this and say, well, that was cool, and walk away from it, never look at it again. We're going to put this workbook and the supplement in the Impact Worldwide chat or the Facebook page, and then we're also going to be putting it in the vault later, so you can access the video that we're doing now, and then also access the documents. So with that said, I'm going to jump in and do a share screen and show you what I'm talking about. It all sounds good until we actually, till we get in and talk about it, right? So here is, get the right document here. There we go. Okay, so what I've got again is a workbook that I literally will want you to take at some point, print this out, and if you're an early morning bird, your best brain power is in the morning, your energy is in the morning. I want you to print this thing out, and I want you to literally use it like this is like coaching in a document, if you will. This is the kind of thing where you can go through and simplify things. It's all about outcome. It's not about doing the exercise. It's about the outcome of what you're going to get. There's also literally more ideas in this document that um, if you just do 10% of what's in here, you'll be successful. And I really don't want you doing everything in here. The whole point of this is to pick what you're good at. Okay, and I'm not saying I want you to I'm not telling Lisa Brannon stay in your lane. Okay, what I am telling you to do is and I'm saying stay in your lane. She's driving, but I'm not telling her to stay in her lane in the sense of not what to do. I want you to focus on what you're good at. Some people are just really good at certain things. There are some people who they're a machine. They can pick up a phone and they can call expireds, they can call FSBOs, they can call, and they don't care. People, they can get 100 no's. They're living for that one yes. For this kind of thing, you really want to be able to focus on what you're good at. So this next page, everything starts with goals, and you should, at this stage of the game, if you've not already done this, I want you to start thinking about a real number for how many homes you want to sell, what's your sales volume that you want to do this year. That then gets us to an average price per home, okay? There are some people that I've known that they would sell 25 homes in a year. Oh, I just don't want to work this much. Well, if your average price point is 350, how would it change your world if you changed your average price point to 500? What if you went after a different market? What if you started marketing yourself in a different neighborhood? You started calling certain people back. So if Michelle's going to serve 18 people this year. I'm making a number up for Michelle. If she's going to serve 18 people this year, does she want to sell $250,000 homes? Does she want to sell $600,000 homes? It's a matter of where you invest your time and how you spend your time and who you go look to serve. Okay. So you can change your outcome for the year just by potentially changing your price point. I would also suggest doing just as a quick side note, what price point is selling the best and the easiest in your community? Some areas it's like $400,000 homes flying off the shelves, can't keep them in stock. Okay, you go into other areas and maybe 700,000, 800,000 is a tough sell, but above 1.2, again, can't keep them in stock. That's where you really need to focus on what's moving and what's available in your neighborhood or your community. Then another thing that a lot of people really don't think about is referrals. Okay, that could be an entirely new and different income source for some of you. So again, I'll just pick Michelle. Michelle being in Lake Norman, we may have people coming to Lake Norman who are coming from Minnesota and they're selling their house. They're tired of the cold in Minnesota and they call Lisa in Jacksonville and they're like, okay, I want a home. I want something that's not where there's snow and ice. Okay, I want to live in Jacksonville, Florida. So Lisa, in a sense, like you're in an area where you have people moving there. How many referrals can you work out in a year? That in itself can be a game changer for you because really what you're a facilitator for your clients. Okay. So I want you to think about and get real resolute on how many homes you're going to sell. I want you to come up with your sales volume, your price per home, the number of referrals, and then your commission income. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you to do something real scary. Take all those numbers and add 50%. I like the looks on your faces. Okay. Because if some of you said, well, the market is slow, and I think I'm going to put down 12. Okay, well, if I told you to get 18, if you shoot for 12 and you get 10, you might be comfortable. Okay, but if I asked you to sell 18 homes and you sell 15, 5 more homes might make a big difference to you this year. So I want you to think about going for a number that's bigger than what you think you can do. Okay, so then, do you remember grade school? Like, I know it was like yesteryear, but do you remember grade school and they had a very simplistic couple of questions, whereas who, what, when, where, why, and how? That's how I built this workbook. I want this to be something where we oversimplify things. And again, I want you to think about what you're good at and what you have in front of you. So in this workbook, again, who are your leads and where are they going to come from? You need to get real deliberate, because some of you, if you're on a team, your team is probably paying for leads. Very likely. I'm not saying guaranteed, but it's very likely they're paying for leads. You need to make sure that when you have these leads coming in, that we get real focused on converting those leads into my sphere. I don't want them just to be, record number 478,297 in my database. I want it to be Bob Jones. I want it to be someone who I know their name, I know their spouse's name, I know their dog's name, and I know where they like to go on vacation. That person, I'm going to sell a home. So the who, again, you need to start thinking about who are the type of people, who are the people I am going to serve. So they might come from sphere of influence. Sphere of influence all day, every day will be your best option. And it's because it's a high, and I'm gonna show you a grid here in a little bit, but it will always be a high ROI group of where you get your sales from, because they know you. They know Joni. They know she's always smiling and she's always having fun. This is the kind of thing that with the sphere of influence, you need to lean into that group and lean into them heavy. Okay. Then you have referrals. And again, if it's Peggy calling Lisa and saying, hey, I got a referral for you, that's another great source, because I know for those of you who are in Cabo, I'm willing to bet you guys a cup of coffee. No matter, I don't care where you like to get your coffee, but I'm willing to bet you a cup of coffee. There's $100 million worth of real estate done in Cabo when we were in Mexico the other week. And I know some of that was referrals. I know some of that was fear, but it was like the curse of the realtor. As soon as you go away on vacation, stuff starts happening. But it's also indicative of the fact that all these agents are in the game. All these agents want to grow their business. So when we think about the who, you may have the referrals and the networking. I wanted to combine with this because I want to make a distinction. There's advertising and marketing, and then there's network marketing. Okay. You need to think of yourself as a network marketer. And if you're a network marketer, you are talking to somebody all day, every day. And every experience you leave a client with is your future marketing, because someone's going to say, Michelle is the bomb. She took care of us. She did everything for us. Okay. This is the kind of thing that as you go through it, and I've got a list here of the who. As you go further down on this list, there's open boxes here. Okay. I want you to pick 3 to 5 of these. Don't overcomplicate this thing, because if you did 5, you're not going to do 10 of these things well. Some people could go all in on their sphere. Shelley, for the most part, utilized other things in the past, tools to work with her sphere, but it was always about her sphere. She might do events like big Christmas parties. She might have pies. She might have all these different things, but it was always about her sphere. Some, like her nephew Hunter, he's done a lot just by starting out doing open houses, and this is one of the things that I think really gets overlooked or isn't done as much. But with open houses, you can walk, talk, and smell like a real estate agent to the community, because when you start doing your own posting, your own things, not only are you going to meet people at open houses, but you're going to actually be able to show I'm working like a real estate agent. One of the things I want you to get out of this is We all know that a lot of agents have left the industry, or they kind of have their real estate career on the back burner waiting for things to heat up again. Well, I can tell you right now, the reason I said there's $100 million worth of real estate written in Cabo is because I can see it firsthand. Things are popping. I know there's certain agents that can't move fast enough right now. You need to be out there with your butterfly net, scooping up leads and scooping up deals. Okay. So when I interviewed Rick and Tristan on stage at the Charlotte Build, Rick spends the first hour or hour and a half of every day making phone calls, making text or sending text messages or sending handwritten notes. That's what he does every morning without fails. For some people, it's like working out. For me, it's like having coffee. He does it every day. He does $80 million worth of real estate by himself every year. Okay. Why do you think he does that? Because he focuses and goes all in on his sphere and his past client community. So again, with this page, I want you to pick 3 to 5 things on this list and go all in. This is who are the groups you're going to go after. Even if you're not into social media, that takes a while to social media or YouTube, it might take you a while to get that flywheel going and get something going with that. But guess what? As soon as we finish this call today or finish this event, you could literally pick up the phone and call 10 people, and you'd be off and on your way, working your sphere of influence, working your leads and turning them into a sphere, or calling people that are in your database who are looking for homes. Okay. So with this, then the what, okay? You need to know what is your value, what are your tools, what is your expertise. Every person on this call has their value proposition. And I have in another workbook, I'm gonna add this as another thing, another tool that I'm gonna put in the Impact Worldwide group. If you don't know what your value proposition is and you can't boil it down to a 2 to 3 minute statement, you need to work on this, because this will change how you think about picking up that phone. This will change how you send text messages and how you call people. What is your value proposition? Some people can say, well, I've been in real estate for 20 years. I know my area. I know new construction. And there are some people that have never sold a stick of a home in their entire life. But suddenly they go out and they sell a $1.2 million waterfront property. How do they do that? Well, they showed someone their value proposition. And this is the thing that I want you don't need to have it into a well-crafted elevator pitch statement. Just know what they are. I'm a data person. Okay. I'm going to help you be able to figure out what area, what homes, what price point, what price per square foot. If that's your thing, lean into it really hard and make sure your clients in your sphere know that. When you think about, and if any of you struggle with this idea of, should I really know what my value prop is? I want you to do 2 things. I want you to go to the people who are closest to you, your friends and your family, and I want you to get them to write down what are 5 things that clients would value me for. Okay. It could be as simple as I listen. Don't underestimate that one alone. I listen. Okay. Somebody might say, you smile all the time, you're approachable. Okay. Even those things alone might give you a edge over someone else. That might make someone like you or love you. You need to know what your value proposition is. One of the other tools that I will put in the Impact Worldwide page is I'm going to give you a ChatGPT script that you can drop into ChatGPT, and then it's going to ask you a series of questions. And with those series of questions, if you answer every one of them, it will help you boil down and condense your value proposition. Because you can either ask your friends and your friends and family, and then if you have relationships with close clients, why would you use me again? What was it that you appreciated working with me? And when they tell you, well, you were like Johnny on the spot. You just seemed to know all the answers. And even when you didn't know the answers, you got back to me quickly and you were able to answer my question. Okay. That should be part of your value proposition. We all dislike it when people don't call us back. Okay. Those of you who are full-time real estate agents, I would have that as part of your real estate prop, because that is the kind of things they think some people just dabble. And if you're all into your real estate career, you need to share it. So this is another one. Again, this is part of the exercise of what I think you really need to focus on is getting your value proposition nailed down. So a minute ago, I said I was going to show you something, and this is the how. Okay, so when we think about who are the groups I'm going to get in front of, and what am I going to say when I get there, now we need to talk about how are we going to get in front of them? How are we going to actually communicate with them? Okay, so I want you to get real strategic with your own time, and I want you to think about effort and impact. Okay, how much money does it cost you to pick up the phone and make 20 phone calls in a morning? Does it cost you a lot of money? Zero. Candy says it doesn't cost her a dime. Okay. So you've already paid for the phone, you've already paid for the service. 1 hour of your time, if you're able to connect with people, that is going to be one of the most impactful things you can do. And it's one of the low cost things, but yet sometimes we tend to avoid it. And I think it's because sometimes we just don't know what to say. Okay. If you ask somebody where they went on vacation, that's something to say. If you ask them about how their kid's soccer practice is going, that's going to help with the connection and turning leads into sphere. But we need to use this as an opportunity to really get strategic about how much effort you put into certain things. Because if I ask, again, Candy, why don't you put on an event in Lake Norman, maybe put it up in Mooresville, and I want you to rent out a facility, and I want you to have 300 seats, and I want you to bring a couple of, I want you to bring food service in. I want you to bring all these different things. You're going to need an MC. Does it sound like a lot of work? Yeah, a lot of money too. Okay, that's why I'm wanting you to think about what can I do to connect with people. Let's not overthink this thing. Pick up the phone, call people, text people, and make sure, and even use Zoom just like this. I don't know how many of you use Zoom on a regular basis. You should. Okay, I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk to you about a how in a minute. But I want you to get real religious and real thoughtful about how you use your time and make sure that it's the most impactful possible. Okay. So let's talk about what some of them are. And I'm not going through absolutely every one of these. I want you to go through this list and think about what is it that you're comfortable doing without a lot of thought. Okay. Personally following up with warm and hot leads. Okay. Gold standard, they say if you get a new lead out of a system or somebody sends you a referral, you better be on the phone in less than 5 minutes. 2 minutes is better. Okay, because if they're on the internet playing on their computer, I mean, think about social media for a minute. You look at a post and you're like, scroll. You look at another post, scroll. Okay. We don't have patience for this stuff anymore. So you're on the other end of things. Think of yourself like the consumer. I don't have patience. So if I fill out a form so I can look at homes on your platform and I don't get a phone call within 5 minutes, guess what? I'm going to somebody else's platform. I'm going to enter my information again, and somebody else is going to call. That's why it's really important to contact people immediately. One of the things that I really, really believe would be a game changer for many of you is the second bullet point, and that is virtual showings. Okay. If I think about even my brother and sister-in-law, they're in the home they're probably going to live in. They've been in the home, I think, for 5 years, probably would be in their home for, maybe another 5 or 10 years. But I can guarantee you right now, with a soccer schedule they got going on, they don't have time to go look at homes. They don't have time to just waste to do whatever. My sister-in-law works nights. My brother-in-law is constantly running kids around to soccer practice. They don't have time. But if someone was able to get on Zoom and say, you know what, I know you're looking at these three homes, they're in three different parts of our community or the city. I want to get on Zoom. I want to spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes with you. I want to virtually show you the three homes. And that way you're face to face. We get a different connection with people when we do this whole face to face thing. And the other thing is you can gauge them, you can learn them, you can understand, but it gives you an opportunity to earn their business. Okay. When you go through this whole rigmarole of, well, when are you coming to town? I don't know. I got a lot of stuff going on. Well, that conflicts with my schedule. Okay. You can always find time for a Zoom. Always. I say Zoom, could be FaceTime, but you could literally sit in your office and you could probably do 5 or 6, 8 virtual showings in a day. And I'm talking about different clients, literally being able to show them, well, here's some waterfront properties, here's some different things. So you could literally be doing virtual showings while never leaving your office, but building a connection and showing your value proposition to people on Facebook or FaceTime or Zoom. So I want you to, again, when you go through this list, think low effort, high ROI. It does not, Zoom is free for 40 minutes. Okay, you can get the paid version, but you can still be doing Zoom showings for 40 minutes. And I don't think Facebook or FaceTime time's up. So think about low effort, high ROI kinds of strategies that you could use. And yes, you can get into other strategies that are medium effort, also high ROI. And that might be hosting like a virtual or in-person like webinar. Okay, it takes a little more of your time because now you're preparing for something. You might be continually posting valuable content, which to me, all of you could be doing, because this could be your value proposition. It could be the kind of thing that Tristan might be getting on and saying, okay, we have an entirely new community and I've been through some of the homes and here's a number of the features and benefits of these homes. Or he might go out and say, here's the top 3 reasons why I believe a lot of people move to Hilton Head Island. Okay, he's positioning himself in such a way that as he's creating content, and when I say it's a medium effort, it requires a little more effort than just picking up the phone and calling someone. But that content that Tristan created lives on social media or YouTube forever. So every time someone goes and searches for something and looks up something, they may run across him. Okay. So some of these strategies are more long lasting. So when you put that content out there, it's searchable, findable in the future. So think about medium and high ROI strategies. And then there are ones that are high effort and high ROI. But again, these are the kinds of things where you may have to invest in the YouTube channel. And I'm talking about like something that is more production quality YouTube channel. You don't need to do that, but you could invest in it that way if you want to. There's if you've never seen him before, Mitch Boraski in Charlotte, he's built a YouTube channel. He does a lot of posting on LinkedIn. He's gone pretty heavy on this. LePage Johnson has done a decent job with YouTube channel as well. And we've gotten leads from it. I know Mitch does a lot in his respect, but it's production quality stuff that you have to create and then keep nurturing. You could do a podcast or video, again, all higher effort. But guess what? Any of these things that I'm talking about being low, medium, or high effort, some of you would probably debate me and say, well, making phone calls is high effort. And it's because we think it is. Okay. Some of you might argue with me and say that, I don't really see starting a YouTube channel as being a big deal. Either you know how to do it or you know somebody else who knows how to do it. And all you are a content creator. Okay. I just hired somebody yesterday who's going to help me out with social media and YouTube because I've been doing it for a while. Now it's time to transition and let somebody else run with it. You could be doing the same thing. So it's as easy or as hard as you want to make it. The thing I don't want to see you get into are things that are high effort and low ROI. Now, cold door knocking, you could literally spend an entire day doing that. Some people have been successful with that. But if you spent 8 hours cold door knocking, you know that it's quite likely you could sit in front of your computer on your phone and potentially call 100, 150 people in a day. I say call, contact. Another little side pro tip, if you will, you can send people voice messages through text. You can send people videos through text. It further personalizes things. You don't necessarily need to be sending a text that says, "Hey, sup," okay? It really changes things when you send someone a voice message and it says, "Gabby, I saw your vacation pictures. They look fantastic. I hope you and the family are doing great." Okay, that is the kind of thing that's a far more personalized than even sending a written text message. Okay, I sent you a voice message. You can hear the tone, the inflection, and the energy in my voice. The same thing with doing a video. Like, don't overthink it. Just fire it up, shoot them a quick video, send it over. It's maybe a second best to doing a Zoom or a FaceTime with them because they get to see you. Okay, I would say over investing in print advertising and things like that. It, I don't know if everybody knows what a CTA is. That is a call to action. Okay, when you think, and I could literally do an entire event or webinar Zoom with you guys on that one thing. Okay, one thing that this is one thing that I would say almost every realtor needs to get better at, and it's a call to action. Call to action might be as simple as saying, Candy, why don't you and I jump on a Zoom call? You and your spouse, let's jump on a Zoom call. Let's go through the 3 homes that you're thinking about and narrow it down so we can maybe narrow that down to 1, because I know you don't want to run all over Charlotte. Okay, that's a call to action. I asked you to do something. It might be going to coffee. It might be come to my open house that I'm going to be at on Saturday. When you have a call to action, you are asking them to do something. And when you think back to your conversations that you've had with clients or leads, your sphere, a lot of times we don't ask them to do anything. In a sense, they're expecting to be asked. It's kind of like the pretty girl at the prom. She doesn't get asked out. Okay. Your leads in your sphere, they're the pretty girl at the prom. They need to be asked out. So make it a point. And I'm talking about everything. If you're doing social media, make sure there's a call to action somewhere in your feed. If you're talking to someone, love to show you homes. If somebody says, "Oh, my mom is moving to the neighborhood," well, connect us. Put us on a group text. I will take care of everything for your mom. Call to action. Okay, ask for the business. So it does not need to be. I would say don't overthink this. This is another one of those things where I'd say pick a few and go all in. Pick what you're comfortable with and get this flywheel moving. So you are literally reaching out to somebody or a group of people every day. And then here comes the when. How many of you say, I just don't have time for this all the time? Okay. So you need to start figuring out, when am I going to do this? You make this a religious event. I do not go a day without coffee. I make it a point when I get up in the morning, I go start my coffee, I go get my dogs, we go for a walk, and then I come back and I enjoy my coffee every day. You need to do the same thing with leads. Part of it is because we don't want this to be we don't want 2025 to be the kind of thing where we sit back in October and go, whew, I really haven't sold a whole lot yet this year. Okay. You want your success to be a deliberate effort of what you have done this year, what you've invested in your own business. And by being deliberate, we're going to time block and you keep it sacred. So even if someone calls and says, I'm going to go look at homes, or I need you to come list my house, and this is the time to do it, but it happens to be the hour and a half you blocked out to lead gen, you just move that lead gen block somewhere else in your schedule and you stay religious to it. You stay consistent, because when you talk to a lot of long-term realtors, and some of them have the roller coaster of business. Okay. They're dead at the beginning of the year and there's like, oh, spring market's coming, I got to get busy, right? And then you start burning up the phones and all of a sudden you got 3 or 4 or 5 deals going. And then you go all in on your clients and you spend all your time on those 3 to 5 clients. And then you get those deals settled and you go, I got nothing in the pipeline. And then you get scared again and you got to jump on the phones again. Okay. While we're working those 3 to 5 clients, we should be lead genning during that time too. It should literally be a year-round thing. Just like breathing oxygen, we need to do it all day, every day, and make sure that we're staying in front of our sphere, in front of our leads, and creating content that's going to send more people to us. Okay. So here is where I want you to start thinking about your own schedule and blocking out time. If you're visual, some people need Shelly's actually gotten into this thing, the big ass calendar. Okay. And it's what its name is. I'm not making things up, but it's a big ass calendar, and she put it up on the wall because she's visual. She likes to see this stuff. Some of you, you have everything set up on your computer and you have everything in your Outlook or Gmail calendar, whatever it is. Block it out there. Okay, I looked at one of the other agents from South Carolina. I looked at their schedule a little while back, and I was like, I mean, there's just little teeny blocks everywhere. I mean, and it started at the beginning of the day and went all the way to the end of the day and beyond the end of the day. Okay. But they're doing so much business, they don't know which end is up right now. Okay. And it's because they are maximizing their time, maximizing their schedule. And that's where I want all of you to be thinking about getting super deliberate with the who you're going to talk to, your value proposition, and what tools you're going to use to stay in front of these people. And then you block it out here. Okay. And then that's right. We need to know whether we're doing a good job or not. How many of you love your own voicemail? Yeah, no. Nobody raised their hand. Okay. Nobody likes their own voicemail. And you know why? Because we're critical of ourselves. That's why I want you to think about this tracking and accountability piece. You need to then look back. If you said, I need to reach out 200 times a month. I need to reach out and specifically either send somebody a note card, a text, a voice message, or call someone 200 times a month. Okay. When you look back at the end of the week, did I reach out to 50 people or did I not? Okay. And if you didn't, maybe we need to double down next week. Maybe we need to do more. Okay. And it could look, you go away on vacation, you get sick, something happens with the family, or you're just not feeling it this week. I get it. We're human. Okay. But we need to stay true to our own goal, because if you're hard and critical on yourself and you write and you look and say, oh, like I look like such a something or other, fill in the blank. I only called 17 people this week. Okay, well, you're a few short. So let's just add to it and we'll do 88 next week. And when you really break it down per day, 88 is nothing. I could literally send um I could literally send messages to 88 people in probably before lunch one day. Okay. And the other thing is when you stir that pot, you're going to get people talking to you. You're going to say, oh, Candy, haven't heard from you in ages. Gabby, you and I need to do coffee again soon. Okay. You're going to stir the pot and get people talking again. And the other thing that I want you to also think about is if you're on a team, make sure you're getting with your team leads, your trainers, your whoever it is, or create like an accountability partner system with someone else. Will it be more meaningful to you if you can get across from somebody, in a sense, almost have like your own little mastermind and say, okay, let's compare notes. Where are you doing well? I'm going to show you where I'm doing well. Where have you not done well? And there's a lot of people who do very well with having some kind of accountability partner. Doesn't matter if it's like your mom. Okay. If your mom can hold you accountable, make her your accountability partner. If it's somebody on your team or your team lead or someone else, make them your accountability partner. Because again, you're supposed to sell 50% more of your goal. So how are you going to do it? Okay. So this and there we put on a lot of stuff within Impact just like this that you could also lean into. Sometimes it's just like we just gotta stir the pot, stoke the fire a little bit. And you're like, you know what? I just gotta get after it again. That's what that kind of stuff is for. Okay. So the tracking and accountability piece, again, is like for me right now, it's a bathroom scale. You go step on it. If you're not happy with it, then change your habits. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay. I want you to think about the tracking and accountability as staying true to yourself, true to your goals, and involving somebody else in this. And this is the chicken or egg piece of this thing. I could have put the why at the very beginning, but I moved it to the very end because in a sense what my mindset is I wanted all of you to think of, why am I even doing this? Why, like, what's my outcome? What am I trying to do? For some of you, I want to retire my spouse. Some of you, I just got to pay some bills. Some of you, I want to stop shopping at Aldi and I want to go to, uh, the upscale grocery store, whatever it is in your town. I want to not care about some of my spending. I don't want to be frugal. I want to like enjoy things. I want vacation money. I want to, some of you might be in the role reversal with your parents and you're trying to think ahead. You may have kids that are going to college. You may have grandkids. The point is everybody has their why. And if we think about and this is another question I want you to write down. This is another one of those write it down moments. Okay. Are you a real estate agent who happens to be in business? Or are you a business person who just happens to be in real estate? They are not the same. It's two completely different things. People who happen to be in real estate, or I'm sorry, the people who are realtors who happen to be in business, you're more likely to hear people say they feel like they're on a treadmill every day. It's the same old, same old. I'm not seeing any leads coming in, as opposed to a business person. And I've had a lot of clients over the years where, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be real estate. It could be a surgeon, it could be an attorney, it could be, you name a profession. There are certain people who go into the profession and they think of themselves as it's just a job. Okay. Whereas you have some people, real estate is nothing more than a conduit for me to get what I want. Yes, I enjoy, just like me, I enjoy working with clients. I enjoy seeing people successful. But like you, this should be a conduit and a tool for you to get what you want. You don't want to look back later and say, I wish I'd have done more. This is where the business people will look at it and say, I don't have enough leads. So I'm going to go 80% of my time into building my pipeline and building my leads. I have to do that. If you're so busy, you don't know which end is up and your hair is on fire, then you get help. Okay. We don't stop. It's always the infinite game when you're doing this kind of thing. So you need to get real clear on whatever your why is. You need to get real clear on your purpose, because that then becomes the fuel for the engine that is you. So when you wake up in the morning and you don't feel it, okay, I got college to pay for. I want to buy a vacation house. I want to go on vacation. I got things to pay for. That's what the why does for you. It's not the cutesy thing of, okay, I've got my why and I put it up on the wall and, I'm happy for myself. When you have a real solid why, you don't even need to frame it. You don't need to think about it. I mean, and I'm all about vision boards. Shelly's very big about vision boards. But when your why is strong enough, you think about it every day, all day. You think about, whatever it is that you want. So I would also get real crystal clear on this, because again, it becomes the fuel for the fire that is your real estate business. And so here's another one that is a progress tracker. And this you could literally use, and I know we're March going into April now, but start out by putting your first 2 months worth of results in. And then when March is done, start putting your results in here as well. If you don't do this already, but you should literally be looking at, okay, I'm running this thing like a business. How many homes have I sold? What's my sales volume? How many referrals have I earned? And then also, what's my commission that I've earned? Okay. Those four things will move into the lead gen and activity review. Okay. You should look back and say, okay, I went in and did a lot of social media stuff and I've got nothing from it. Well, why is that? Well, did you do a lot of unilateral kind of content, but there was never a call to action? Okay, well, maybe we need to go back and say, if we dumped a lot of effort into social media, but got nothing in return, maybe we need to make sure in the future we have a call to action. If you sent out postcards and canvas communities and you got nothing from it, well, maybe we don't spend the money on those things and we sit in front of the computer and we dial for dollars and we call our sphere and we start calling our leads to turn them into our sphere. That's where you, again, as a business person, you're going to look at where have we invested time and money to cultivate people who are going to turn into homes sold, where have we spent our time and money, and what's worked out, what's not worked out. That's where we do this monthly review to figure out what's working. And some people know, I mean, you just, and I know Peggy has somebody on her team, Dalton. He's one that literally loves just burning up the phone. That's what he's good at. Okay. And I think somebody could call, I know he doesn't have any, but somebody could call his baby ugly and he'd say, you know what? I thank you for that, but you still haven't told me whether you want to go see homes. Okay. It's like, it doesn't even faze him. He just takes the comments and eats them and asks them what we're going to do. Okay. He knows that's what works for him. And that's the kind of thing that, again, I want you guys to lean into what's working. The whole point of this is if it's not working, should it be working? Is it a strategy that's working for a lot of other people? Maybe we need to rethink how we're doing it. But maybe we're avoiding the one thing, picking up the phone, that we know is going to actually work. So then we get to conversion and client engagement. So this is one, again, you're going to treat this thing like a business. How many leads have I generated? How many new people have I added to my database? And I don't care if your database is a legal tablet or if you actually have a full-on CRM, use something. Use something to keep track of these folks. Take notes. So the how many leads have you generated in the last month? How many clients have you secured? Column sphere if you want. And then what's your conversion rate and what's your client satisfaction feedback? How many people have you added to your 5-star reviews? And I'll tell you, that's another thing. If you're looking for what's my value proposition, I know Candy, you've sold real estate for more than a year, right? So Candy probably has years worth of clients, and she may have some that have or have not left her reviews. Depending on relationship, she could go back and say, you know, it would really be meaningful to me if you would leave me a 5-star review. Here's the link. Or somebody might call and be in the middle of a transaction. Some of you might wait, say, well, I have to wait until the settlement table to ask for a review. Okay. You might be out showing homes and the client just has this weird look on their face. You're like, okay, is everything all right here? They're like, I've never worked with a realtor like you. Like, this is so professional. You have your stuff together. Okay. Well, this is how I do business. You know what would be really meaningful to me? I would love for you to go out on Google and leave me a 5-star review that says exactly what you just said. Wait for the settlement table. When they say it and it's fresh in their mind, ask for the review. Even if it's 2 years after the transaction, ask for the review. As soon as they give you the compliment, ask them to send you the review. Okay, don't overthink this stuff. All right. So quarterly, sorry, this is jumping around on me here. Then we get into I went over the conversion and client engagement. And then you can do a quarterly and annual review where you go back and literally say, and some of you, I would also ask some of you, if you are married with your significant other, in a relationship, whatever it is, sometimes sitting down with them would be helpful too. And it's because, and I learned this many, many years ago. Shelly got into real estate in 2004. When you're married to a realtor, you're in real estate, whether you like it or not. Okay. So you need to talk to your spouse, because if you could talk to your spouse rather than your spouse not being appreciative of the time and the effort and some of the other things that you're doing, instead it could be, look, my goal is to make X this year and I need your help. And sometimes help might be just take care of the dogs. Like, make sure I don't have to listen to barking dogs while I'm doing lead gen. How about you run the errands? If you have a 16-year-old kid, they want to drive. Okay, send them to the grocery store. let them get their driving experience, let them get some life experience by actually grocery shopping. You'll get 2 hours of your life back. And this is the kind of thing where you go back and say, I've not made time, or I'm crushing it and I need help. Okay, this is where, again, doing a little bit of a review periodically and figuring out what is it I need to do to sell more than 50% of what my goal was this year. And I'm asking you guys to shoot for the moon, like the old saying, shoot for the moon. Even if you land amongst the stars, you're going to do quite well. All right. But sometimes it requires having a real conversation, either with yourself, maybe your spouse, maybe with your team or your accountability partner. But you should be doing a quarterly review and figuring out what is working or what needs help. So let me ask this. We're at 11:52. We've got one other document I want to show you. And it talked fast. I even allowed you guys to talk because I wanted to be able to get through this and show you a lot of different things. But I also wanted you, I'm going to leave time for Q&A. But one other thing, I think we're always looking for what else? What else? Okay. I'm going to do another, and I got to make sure I'm doing the right screen share here. All right, so you guys can see the prospecting tips, correct? Thumbs up. Okay, so this is another document that I'm going to drop into the Impact Worldwide Facebook group. And again, this is one of those things where I want you to pick some of these. You know, I went through and gave you a list in that document. I just didn't want to make the original blueprint workbook 100 miles long, but I wanted this to be something where you can literally figure out what are 5 things you're going to do and do really, really well. You could do nothing but phone calls and be super successful. Okay. But some people love door knocking. Some people love calling FSBOs. They love having that conversation with people who don't want to be sold and showing them, I'm going to get you more money for your house. And you're going to sell your house with a whole lot less stress and a whole lot of effort, less effort on your behalf. They love having those conversations. They love those wins. Doing open houses. Okay. If you're not busy, you should be doing an open house every weekend. Newsletters, which you could be, don't overthink that one. You can write it. You can use ChatGPT. You can post it on your Facebook page. That could be a newsletter. You could shoot videos. These are traditional types of prospecting methods. Again, I'm not going to go through absolutely every one. Handwritten notes, easy peasy. Sit down, write notes, send them out to people. It costs you a note card, stamp, in an envelope, and 3 minutes of your time. That's all it takes. How many note cards have you received in the last year? Not many, right? So this would be something that's going to stand out. This would make you look different than everybody else in the community. No one sends me note cards. It's kind of a nicety in today's world. Then you can get some creative marketing strategies. You might get handouts for seasonal postcards. What if you had something that, if you did open houses, just thinking of this for a minute, you could do an open house, create a postcard. It could be Gabby could have her picture on the postcard and have the postcard that says for a complimentary consultation, scan this QR code, and you and I will meet on Zoom to talk about how we're going to find you the perfect home. Okay. Now that's a call to action. It's a lasting marketing piece. It differentiates her and it focuses on the client. So, and something else that I would also tell you guys to do when you're thinking about your own way in which to talk to people, if you've not read the Storybook Brand, I would highly, highly recommend you either read it or you listen to it. Okay. And it's because it's a very structured approach to how you talk to people or how you present information. So you present the client or the lead as the hero, you are the guide, and then you focus on how you're going to help them. And that is a very oversimplified way of doing it. But when you get to the point of using that Storybook Brand type of strategy for what you do or how you talk to people, it's going to change your conversations entirely. You're not trying to sell them. Yes, real estate's about sales, but you're selling the house. You're not selling the client. Okay, you're building a relationship with them. So that's where that Storybook brand strategy will go a really, really long way. So there are creative marketing strategies here. There's referral-based marketing strategies here, and community-based events, strategic business partnerships. Like Shelly had a great relationship with a insurance agent. She sent him referrals. He sent her referrals. Okay. You have people in your neighborhood who talk to people moving to the neighborhood all the time. You might go to the HR department, like in Charlotte, we had Freightliner. I think it was like 800 or 1,000 employees they brought to Charlotte. Well, why wouldn't we go to the HR department and say, I'm your realtor? I'll take care of all your executives, all your technicians, all your mechanics. Okay. Go to car dealerships. These are strategic partnerships that you can have, build those relationships. And then we have an entire list of advanced strategies. So literally, guys, there's 120 ways in which you can cultivate your own pipeline, build your sphere, and sell more homes. If we can't find it on this list, I don't know where you're going to find it. So, was this helpful? We like it? Okay, so I have not even looked. I don't even know if we have, well, we do have chat, a little bit of chat. Okay, Gabby came in late and she said, where am I going to get this workbook? I'm going to drop this workbook in the Facebook Impact Worldwide Facebook page. So you'll get that there. And if any of you have someone who you thought he should have been here and they should have listened to this, this has been recorded. So we'll have this for later as well. And oh, what app do I use to track time? I mean, personally, I just use my Outlook. I literally have Outlook. I use the calendar in Outlook, and I'll literally just block time out, and I'll invest. If I block something out for an hour and a half, then I do it for an hour and a half. So I don't know if that is answering your question, Gabby, or not. And you feel free to unmute yourself and chime in if you want. But I would really love to know if I'm answering your question or not. And I see her swiping.
Yeah, so I started using this one called Clockify, I think, but
okay.
it's kind of tedious because I always have to go in there and start it and stop it and start it and stop it. It's more for like time management, you know.
And you know, this is, so I know you came in late. Okay, in the beginning of this, I asked everyone, do you feel like we have too many distractions? Okay, and the distractions might be you're running kids around, or you're you know, dealing with parents, or you got clients that are wasting your time, or I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I literally, okay, and I know this is gonna look like a mess, and it's because it is. Okay, these are all my notes from Cabo. Okay, I literally went through all of my notes from Cabo yesterday. There's, I don't know, probably 15 pages of notes and different things that I either like the way someone phrased something, or there's an AI platform or something. And you have to narrow it down to what are things that you can do. Like, what can you do in the short term, and start, you know, integrating things. But at the same time, you have to start getting rid of things. And I say this, even myself, I'm constantly having to tell myself that you have to oversimplify. You have to we have so many, I mean, you could literally go out and learn 1,000 AI platforms right now. There's 1,000 of them out there easily. I mean, I just got this thing. It's a activity tracker. It's another AI thing I have to learn. Okay. But I want data on what I'm doing and how I'm sleeping and some of the other things. Okay. I've got I was working on a a tool that would help me create things like this workbook and what have you. But I found something else at Cabo, so I'm getting rid of the other one, and now I'm doing this one. And The reason I'm saying this is, Gabby, for me, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, but for me, just use my time block. If I know from 9 to 10:30, I'm going to prospect or work on a project or something else, nothing else gets in that time, and I spend an hour and a half on that. Okay, like I'm religious to that time. I mean, if you like that activity tracker, use it, because that at the end of the month will show you, like, if I spent 38 hours doing lead gen in a month, are you happy with that, or do you need to ramp it up? Do you need it to be 50? Okay, like I think there's worth it. I don't use it that way. I don't know if anybody else has something like that, but yeah. So I know I'm not giving you maybe the answer you want. I'm telling you how I do it. So any other, does anybody else have questions? And I mean, anything that, all right, Kelly has a question.
Okay, can you hear me? I had to get unmuted. I came in like way late because I had some things going on, and I probably missed it. You probably covered it, but I am seriously struggling with too many distractions and time management. And so, what is the best tool to get my time management down? Because I feel like if I can get my time management down, that I'm going to be rocking and rolling, but I am struggling so hard with that.
Okay,
I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna this whole thing that I gave you guys was in effort to oversimplify everything, and I'm gonna give you an oversimplified answer, but it can be this simple. Okay, you create a calendar, and I don't care if it's like you go to Google and you get a printable calendar, you go to the store and get a calendar, you put it in your phone, but you literally block out time. And and Kelly, I want you to unmute yourself again.
Okay.
Repeat after me.
Okay.
No.
No.
Say it again.
No.
Say it again.
No.
Okay. That's what you have to get comfortable with. Because it's as simple as that. When you block that time and you tell someone, or I'm sorry, you block time for yourself to be productive. If it's truly distraction related, or it's anything that's encroaching in on that time, whatever it is, you need to start getting comfortable with saying no. And it might be saying no to other people. I mean, there are people who are so committed to doing their lead gen activities that they will tell a buyer, I have a previous engagement from 9 to 10:30. I can meet you at 11. Okay. That's saying no, because it's important for me to do lead gen. Or if they know this is a super hot buyer and it's a high dollar item, high dollar house, okay, maybe it's a $2 million waterfront. You're like, I am not letting this one get away. Then you take that 1.5 hour time block and you move it to another time of the day, and then you start saying no again. It can be that simple, and I will tell you, the biggest offender, I think, in the distractions, that right there. Okay. That's the biggest offender. And when I say you have to learn how to say no, you need to turn it off. You need to put it in another room if you're not actually working on it. Put it on silent mode, put it in airplane mode, do something. Okay, because you can literally, even in airplane mode, I can create 15 text messages to 15 different people saying, hi Bob, this is Kelly. Hope you've been doing great. Da, 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 da. And you create these text messages or even voice texts you send to people. You can do it all in airplane mode. You've said no to the world, turned everybody else off. And then as soon as you're done with creating your 15 text messages, you turn it airplane mode off, and you reconnect to your Wi-Fi or you connect to the cellular network, and magically all 15 of your messages go out. And you didn't get blown up by everybody. Oh, Kelly, I have a question. Oh, I got a Facebook notification. Oh, I got an Instagram notification. Oh, I got an email. And now I've got nothing done. Airplane mode can be your friend.
Okay. I have another question that relates to that. They say, and even in Cabo when we were there, they talked about respect your time, and at some point in the evening you're done. And if people are calling you about real estate, you're done. You'll get back to them in the morning. But how does that work when you're new and you're trying to build your clients and say it's my first lead. Oh, they're calling me and it's 8 o'clock at night, but I say I'm done at 7. How do you handle that? Being new, you don't want to miss it because you don't want them to go to somebody else. So, but I don't want to be by my phone until I'm going to bed, right? Like,
and there are people that will do that, you know, and I'm not going to argue either way, but I'm going to put it this way. If you need to learn to get comfortable with telling people no, but it's how you react to things, not the fact that you said no. Okay, so it could be, I'm currently in the middle of something. Is it possible? So some people want to get like academic with this. I work the hours of 8 to 7 and nothing outside of it. No client wants to hear that. Okay, nobody wants to hear that. And I'm not saying you would, but the point is, I know there are realtors that will say it that way. It's not friendly. That's not what I want to hear. Okay, but if you say, I currently have another engagement or something I'm into, could I talk to you at 8 a.m.? Could I talk to you on your way to work in the morning? Could I? So I'm not telling you what I can't do. I'm telling you what I can do. So that is all how you word it to the other folks. You don't have to be available at 11 o'clock at night. Now, mind you, some people, if they're in hustle and grind mode and I'm going to do it until I get busy, that's a different story. Don't believe in working 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every night. That's not healthy. It's not good. Okay. But if you're all in, you know, and I'm going to pick Tristan for a second because he and Rick both do a lot of real estate. Okay. But I know they're religious about their lead gen activities. And I also know that they have a lot of stuff going on with their own families. Okay. Not going into details, but they got kids in sports and they do other things. So point is, like, they're not available all the time. And just because you don't have a full book of business at the moment doesn't mean you need to be at everyone's beck and call. Okay. So in a sense, you don't want to say it this way, but you want people to respect you and your time. They want to work with you because of your value proposition, not because of when you're available. Think of yourself as like a 5-star restaurant or a Michelin rated restaurant. Just because you call and say, I want to know if there's an opening at 7:30 on Friday night, they're going to tell you no. Okay, but you're still going to go because you know it's good. You know it's a Michelin rated restaurant. People will wait to get in line to go to a Michelin rated restaurant. They will wait to go to a really high-end steakhouse. And when you have your value prop down and you have that and you're building that kind of reputation for yourself, people will respect your time.
so if I would like my hours to be from 8 to 7 and they called me at 8, trying to get your business going, do you take the call or do you have a message that says I am unavailable, but I am available at 8 a.m.? Can you do that?
So some people will say, and I don't know how you guys are, but there's one strategy a lot of people use, and it will be if you got this voicemail. So you don't have to say I only work these hours. Okay.
Right.
Don't publish that. What you do
Right.
say is if you in your head, just don't answer the phone. Okay. And then you have a voicemail that says, hello, you've reached the voicemail of Kelly Flam. You know, if you got this voicemail and you want a response sooner, you can say something to this effect. But if you want a response sooner, or if you need immediate attention, send me a text message. Okay, then you can read it. And it might be that they just have this super silly question, and maybe you can resolve it in 3 minutes on your phone, and you send them a link or send them a screenshot of something and say, I'm currently in the middle of something, but I wanted to get this over to you.
Okay.
Sound good?
Kelly, one of the things I do is I train my clients from the beginning, and then that level of expectation is kind of there. But if you start picking a phone up immediately at night, they've got you. But if you don't respond to them outside the hours of 9 to 4, 9 to 5, whatever it is you want to work, then they'll kind of get the message. And most people are decent human beings and will respect that. You know, I kind of said to my dad one time, I'm like, Dad, what's going on with all of you? He owns Hilton Head Business Brokers, and I'm like, what's up with all you commercial guys? I don't get a phone call back from any of you till like 2 days later, and come Thursday, nobody's doing anything till Monday, and it's just the culture that they've developed, and they get away with it because they've kind of got everybody trained on it. But you know, you might miss one or two here and there, but for me personally, going to the other question, I never show property in the morning. I'm always doing other things. So I don't tell people that. You know, I don't tell people I'm on vacation. I usually, most of the time now, I don't even post my vacation photos till later on, because it does open you up, right? But if if you say I'm available, I nearly always try to schedule my showings 2, 3, 4, and that way people are usually done by dinner time. If you start at 9 o'clock in the morning, they might have you all day. You know, I had one of the most successful guys at the Sea Pines Real Estate Company. I said, now Rob, why did you buy this little Infinity? He could have had a Lamborghini, whatever. He built spec houses for $10 million. And he goes, that's about 4 houses worth. And so it wasn't too comfortable for him, but you know, you have to protect your time and you have to be strategic in how you do it. Otherwise, you know, and I think a lot of us, when we first start, we invest so much time showing houses and we never get anywhere with them when we become tour guides. And ultimately, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get them into a house, right? In the shortest amount of time possible. And they don't really want to go on joy rides for 5 or 6 times. So it's be strategic, make sure when you are showing that you've actually got good properties to show that they're going to buy, right? Don't, you know, go and look at them, go on open house tour, look at them online, really be strategic. And I usually save the best one for last, right? And they should maybe throw a couple of dogs in their price point, right? And then they really perceive the value. But, you know, you can lead gen all morning and put your, you know, if you just say, I literally only show property maybe once or twice a week, if that, but it's always going to be in the afternoon because you just have to protect your time. Lead generation is the number one thing. If you watch that that video of Brent Gove, Tina Call, Leo, and Glenn, at the end, they were like, what's your one takeaway? And I think Leo's takeaway was, or Brent's was lead gen. And then I think Leo's was keep the client at the center. If you do those 2 things, it's going to be great, but you have to be organized, right? And lead gen's the number one thing. It's not showing property.
And guys, Tristan and Rick did an amazing book of business before they came together, and now they're building a team that, I mean, they were just short of 300 million last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so point being is they build this, they do this kind of business doing what he's telling you. So he's not, in a sense, like going back to my example a few minutes ago, it's like the pretty girl back in school or the pretty girl now, that you need to seem available but not that available. Okay, so it's the kind of thing where they need to respect you, they want to work with you, but they have to respect you, you know. And they work with Tristan because they know that he's pragmatic about things, he's a connection to things, he helps to narrow things down, and he's just fun to listen to. So, you know, and he owns a bar down there, so that there's a win too. He can send them to a good place to eat. So point being is you need to be available. And I mean, to me, when you're building that book of business, you should be like pouring the gas to it. Like we should just be like the pedals on the floor, and we're doing everything lead gen focused until we start getting buyers that are ready. You know, and that again, I would go back to the comment I talked about earlier about call to action. Call to action should be in every written thing you do. It should be in every conversation you have. You're always inviting them to something, offering to do something for them, offering something, Okay, and it's like, let's jump on a Zoom and look at properties or FaceTime. I'm driving through this neighborhood. I can record, whatever it is you're looking at. These are value things that you can do to maintain that connection with people. So what other questions, comments, thoughts do we have out there?
So was that Tristan we were just talking to with the accent?
It was.
Yep.
Hi,
It
Tristan. This is Kelly. I met you in Cabo, so I recognize
Yeah.
the accent.
Hey, Kelly. How's it
Thanks
going?
for the advice.
You're welcome. I think be confident, but at the end of the day, you got to be good. Don't waste time on crappy properties. Really listen to these people when they're, what do they want? You can make a deal happen in an hour, but be of real service and be really direct and real focused on what it is that they want. And, I pulled my truck into the back of the office yesterday morning, and I saw one of my agents walk in. I was like, "Hey, Deb, how was your weekend? Did you sell anything?" That's what I always, did you sell anything? She says, "Well, I've got this Sotheby's guy that's bringing me an offer on this pocket listing I've got in Sea Pines." I'm like, "What pocket listing? You didn't tell me about that." And I said, "What guy is it?" And she tells me this guy. I'm like, "Oh, he's so flaky. He never calls anybody back." I said, "What's the house?" And so she tells me, and I'm like, "All right, hold on a minute. It was a great deal. Sold it yesterday. We sold it last night." Like one
Nice.
conversation led to me thinking about who would want it and just selling it to that person. But it's just really thinking through, how do I serve this person with what they truly want? Because you don't need to spend days and weeks. I mean, I look back to my early days as a realtor. I must have done 500,000 miles of driving people around and then them never calling me back or whatever it was. But now I take complete control. I am pushy if it's something good, and I'm like, you need to move on this. This is not going to be around. Very likely, this is not going to be around if I feel that way, and just kind of really dig in on what the client is looking for, because I feel like most agents are not that focused on solving the problem, but nobody wins, including the clients, unless you get to the finish line, right? And it's all about being on top of the game. And Kevin's so right with this lead gen. You can do all the things right, but if you're not lead genning every day, you're not going to do it. I always have this thing. I meant to put it in the chat, but I think I sent a message to Eric. But I always put pressure on myself. If I don't have 7 to 10 deals pending, I'm like, that's not good enough. I've got 3 kids that need tuition payments, actually 4. I like to go on nice vacations like Cabo. I like to drive a nice car. And my wife is not cheap, right? So what does that mean? That means I've always got to have deals. It doesn't matter if I've got a $5 million deal pending, which I do regularly. I've got to have lots of deals, because as soon as that money comes in, it seems to disappear, and it's done it for 20 years. So you have to put pressure on yourself to do a lot of deals. Life is so expensive these days, right? 1 deal or 2 deals. Of some people, like, you never see them again after they've sold $1 million house, and it's just like, dude, you're just going to go, from this to this, when there's so much opportunity to make so much money. When I got an assistant, I have this girl Donna that helps us run this group here. But the first time I got an assistant was about 5 years ago. I had 14 deals pending. One of them I was on both sides of, which was a $15 million deal. And I went to my broker, my owner of the company at the time before we came to EXP. I'm like, dude, you've got to give me an assistant. I can't put all these listings in, show all this property, handle all these attorneys, all these inspections. And he wouldn't give me one. But that's what I tell the agents in our office. I'm like really pissed right now because I think maybe one of them's on this call. And here I am. I've already done 10 million this year under contract and closed. And I get value out of spending every time I can get. There's Eric. There he is. But Eric's
anything you tell me to
I
do,
get value
Tristan,
out
I'm
of
doing.
Kevin every single time. And Rick and I pay Kevin as our coach a lot of money because we're always learning these tips to sell more real estate. and it's so valuable. So thank you, Kevin, for taking the time today. And unless I'm out showing property, I'm listening to this man because he's helping me sell more.
I thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I like running with lions. So that's what I'm looking to do, is create more lions today. So what other questions can I answer for you guys? We got about 9 minutes left. See, Kelly, I'm saying no. We got 9 minutes left.
Okay, I have another question for Tristan. So Tristan, when you are trying to do a deal, and I know you just said that, you know, you need to jump on this if you feel it. Like, you're not going to say that if you're like not, if you're just trying to make a sale because you're not being authentic. But what do you do when they're really on the fence, and you've really worked hard with them, and you know that they need to do this, but they're not? What's your finish line with them?
And actually, can I go first, Tristan?
Yes. Yes.
Didn't quite understand. Say, yeah, go ahead.
So I think I have an answer for your question. So there's a long-term client of Shelley's that she worked with there on the Lake Norman area. And they're do you guys understand the DISC profile?
Yes.
Okay. So there's DISC. You don't need to get academic with it and go deep dive with it. Okay. But basically you can go through and say D's, if you show a D a house, they're gonna say love it or hate it. End of the story. Okay. There's no like, well, if it had, it's because they'll know, like, okay, this is the house I want. It does not have a pool, but I can fix that. Okay. The bedroom is painted burgundy red. It looks like garbage. I can paint that. Like, they know that. That's what a D says. Okay. And I wants to know, like, they want to know, like, they're going to feel good here. Okay. They need to talk about it. Okay. C's and S's, they're going to need help to make that decision. And the C's and the S's are the highest percentage of the entire world. Like, you take everybody, C's and S's are the highest percentage of the world. And many times they either need a lot of facts to make a decision, and sometimes they need somebody to just flat out kick them off the fence. And the story I was going to tell you real quick is Shelley had a buyer, very big high CS, okay, like husband and wife are both C's and S's. And she found them house, and she'd been looking for houses with them. And one day she called up and she says, I have it. And they said, that you have what? I have your house, the one you're going to buy. And they said, well, we haven't seen it yet. She says, I don't care. You're going to be there at 5 p.m. today. We're going to look at the house. We're going to write the offer shortly thereafter. This is it. And of course, they're like, whoa, wait, you know. But the point of it was she took a stance. It's like, literally, everything you've asked for. You want to be in this neighborhood. You want this kind of thing. You want a yard for your kids. You want a yard for the dog. You want. Checks every box. And it's a good price. We're going to buy the house. Okay. Some people need that. Some people need to hear that from their realtor. Like, you take a stance. I'm not just like, you know, taking you to the grocery store and showing you 5,000 ingredients you can pull together for a meal. You're telling me you're going paleo. Well, we're going to go down the meat aisle. We're going to pick what kind of beef you're going to eat. We're going to pick 2 vegetables. That's your dinner. Okay. Same kind. That's what she did with this couple. Fast forward several years, and then she called them again and said, it's time to sell your house. They're like, what do you mean? Well, I have the next house you're going to buy. They're like, well, I didn't know I was in the market. You're in the market because I know I can get you top dollar for your house, the one you're in now. And this one is going to be your forever home. This is the one you really wanted before. This is the one that you will make money on in the future. And ultimately, she sold their other house for top dollar, ultimately got them into another house. And I can guarantee you, like right now, that couple probably has $2 million in equity just from those 2 homes right now. Like, sold the first one, made good money on the first one, and what they're sitting on equity on the second one, they probably have $2 million in equity. Do you think they're happy with Shelley? And Shelley got pretty pushy with them. And it's because she knew what they wanted, and they had to be pushed by her. Shelley had to take a stance and say, this is what you want. So I'm hoping I'm answering your question.
Yes. Now, where is Shelley on the disc? Because I'm an I.
She's super high I. But,
Yeah.
but so when you learn the disc, there's your natural and then there's your adaptive. Her natural is 100, like a 110 I, which there isn't a 110, but she's a super high I. But when it comes down to what she's doing, or like when it's time to change modes, her D goes way up.
Okay.
So if you don't know what yours is, you can actually take the disc through EXP through the platform, or you can go to Tony Robbins and do it.
Yeah, I've
But
done it online. Yeah.
But but again, don't try to be something you're not, because even if, let's say you're a high C, you're all about details. You can get pushy through details and say, you wanted this, you wanted this, you wanted this. I took copious notes. You wanted all these things. And that's what you find in this house.
You know, one of the things, Kelly, that I do is I get excited about a house when I know it's what they want. And you're going to know as you get more experienced, you'll know, right? But it's a, you're a salesperson. You have to help facilitate that road to, the contract and then obviously to close. But, I walk out of a house and I'll be like, guys, if I know I'm in a bad house, I'm like, I look at them, I can feel the vibe. Let's move on to the next one. You build credibility when you do that stuff. But then when you see a good one, get excited about it, because they'll feed off you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not in anything that's not, authentic, but, there's a total art to only going out with people. My goal is to go out with them one time and that's it, right? And if you do your homework properly, that's going to happen a lot of the time. But they'll feed off you. They'll feel your energy about a property. The one I sold yesterday for 1.85, they didn't see it. I just told them to buy it. I took them down there with my phone. I was like, this is not going to hit the market. You're either going to buy it or somebody else is going to buy it. And they bought it. Cash, 2-week close.
Wow.
Good
for you. Yeah.
But it's, there's the biggest thing I would say, my biggest thing with this business is co-broking is so underrated, and realtors will run away from nightmare agents. I mean, run. I'll see somebody show mine and I'll do anything to talk my seller out of working with somebody if I think, even if the price is good, if I think they're going to screw the deal up or make everybody's life miserable for 60 days or 45 days. So you want to protect your client's interests in the deal, but at the same time, you do not want to become that agent, because there is a bunch of them here, and I'm sure everywhere, where they get over aggressive on the inspection. Then you nearly always kill a deal, right? The other key is make sure you figure out an inspector that's not going to scare the hell out of a seller or your buyer and just ruin the deal, right? That's 90% of inspection companies. In our market, we've got such great realtors that have been doing this for so long. There's some guys have been doing this for 40, 50 years. They won't use half of these inspection companies. They'll actually put it in the private remarks. And I'm not saying to be that person yet, but if you can align yourself with an inspector that's going to create success for you and not write a 78-page report on a 40-year-old house that obviously doesn't meet the codes of today and all the rest of it. Because at the end of the day, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to become friends with those agents that sell in your area. That's how you sell a lot of real estate. I was talking to this guy, Steve, who opened up South Africa that Brent bought in, and they don't really co-broke very well in South Africa. I'm like, what do top agents, how many units do top agents sell in South Africa? And it's pretty much always like the listing agent is handling both sides of the deal. And he said, like, the top agents are doing like 20 deals. But because of co-broking and the systems we have over here, Rick and I, our first year in business in 2005, we sold 200 deals, right? And that's because all the agents, we're easy on the deal. It's not just about getting your house the right getting the client the right house. That's a big part of it, but it's also getting those realtors to want to do a deal with you when you bring them an offer. But, oh, Kelly is really cool. She's not going to make my life miserable over the door handle not opening properly, you know?
I'll bring my screwdriver.
90% of the deals I do now are as is. Like the one I did yesterday was as is. I'm like, hey, I tell my client, I'm like, we can go in and do the inspection. I always do the right to inspect and withdraw, protect their interests, right? You know, I try and go in there and look at everything. Like yesterday, I'm like, it's going to need a new roof. It's going to need this. It's going to do that. Get all the bad stuff up front out, and then make the contract as acceptable as possible. If you know it might be difficult to get it.
So
Thank you.
kids, it's time. So it's been great seeing all of you. As I said, I'm gonna drop the 2 documents in Impact Worldwide. We're gonna have the recording for this in Impact Worldwide. So if you knew there were certain people that now that you've seen it, should be seeing it, you'll have that to show to them or share with them later. I also have next Friday, you'll see something come across Impact shortly. Next Friday, I'm interviewing a lender. And the lender is one who has some loan products that may help you sell a few more homes this year. And this is literally like just somebody, we have no relationship with this guy other than the fact that he has some products that may help you unlock some inventory. That's all we care about. And then I have another one that I'm going to do. If you are into agent attraction and you want to build your own organization, I have something very similar to what we did today, built out very similar, but it's focused on agent attraction. And you'll see that come across an Impact Worldwide, getting scheduled. Going to run it very much the same way, training just like this, Q&A afterwards. So with that, it's been great seeing all of you and look forward to seeing you again here in the near future. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Kristen.